Everybody, we hope you are good.
There's no lifeguards on duty today.
No, and even if there is one, it wouldn't help you. See, I got that effects button thing. I bet you that scared my children. He did a little loud.
And all of our listeners, they're all terrified. They've all peed and pooped themselves a little bit. Apologize to the nice people, Mateo.
I'm sorry.
You scared them.
Yeah, but we're talking about a lake, so you can pee and poop in the lake. That's commonplace, right?
No. Do not pee and poop in the lake. That's bad news. Okay. Especially no poop. Maybe the occasional pee here and there in the lake, but never the poops.
I'd much rather you guys just get out and pee in the bushes instead of the lake. We're all in the lake.
Yeah, but what if you're in the middle of the lake and you really got to go, and then if you have to get out of the lake, you got to wade through like 17 million kids that are just fucking being kids splashing around, and you don't want to accidentally piss on kids. So you're in the middle of the lake. Just don't make a habit of it. Try to empty your bladder before. But in case of an emergency, I suppose you can pee into the lake and you'll be fine.
All right, yes. All pants pissers got to pee in the deep end, though.
Yeah, definitely got to go the deep end if you're gonna be urinating. Do it away from the kids.
All right, so we're gonna talk about a lake, a cursed lake. I myself, fun fact, am terrified of lakes. I will not go in lakes.
Or any bodies of water. Isn't that correct?
The swimming pools, but only in the daytime.
No nighttime swimming.
Not unless I'm drunk.
Interesting. Why is that?
I don't know. I went with the lake thing. We used to go to a lake when I was a kid regularly, every weekend almost, when it was during the summer months. And there was one time where something hit my foot in the water, and it was super duper hard. I don't know what it was, but it was hard. It was a rock, but it wasn't on the bottom of the floor. It wasn't that deep. And I that freaked me out enough to where I never went into another lake again to swim in, ever.
What's with the nighttime swimming pools?
I don't know. That's probably just a mixture of horror movies I've seen and just a lack of visibility.
I understand. I completely understand. I used to be terrified of swimming at night. And it was one of those things where I knew nothing was going to happen, but just the image of dark water and Jaws it resonated with me, and until I was probably 10 or 11, I would still go, but it would be a quick jump in, and then I'm sitting on the stairs or hang out in the shallow end.
Yeah, I've been night swimming, and every time I've done it, which is only a couple times, I've gotten in the water and I've gone underwater, and I've had to just look around every 2 seconds, and it's just not fun. It's not enjoyable. And with my luck, there'll be some teleporting shark. First time in history, it's going to land in this pool at nighttime, and only I'm going to die. It's going to eat me and say, oh, Jesus, people taste like shit, and teleport out. There'll be no explanation. It'll be covered up. They'll send me home and something the size of a shoebox, and that'll be that. After
I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, and I could see how Freddy kills people in weird ways in their dreams and stuff, to really freak them out. I used to have this it wasn't I guess a daydream, but that I would be swimming and Freddy would somehow solidify the surface of the water so that I was trapped in my pool and drowning under there.
Oh God.
And then Freddy would come up from underneath me in the water like a fucking shark, but with his claw, and then kill me. I was a very imaginative child.
And so was I.
And Freddy really, just because of the capabilities of Freddy, my imagination ran wild, and it scared the shit out of me as a kid. I would just think of so many different creepy scenarios where Freddy would come out and scare the shit out of me.
Yeah, that one got to me when I was a kid. And that's one of those ones that I understood what was going on, but I just didn't understand all the implications. I was like, okay, so he kills them when they go to sleep. You know, I didn't think more into it than that. But as I got older, I was like, oh God, that's super fucked up. When they made that one, was it the Dream Warriors, where they're like, I'm a superhero? I was like, yeah, do that. If it's a dream, do that.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, but then he still fucked him up anyway. He's like, you know what? Your superpowers worked for a minute, but I'm going to fuck you up anyway. And then he did.
I watched some clips of some of those movies not too long ago, and I didn't notice how much Freddy Krueger says bitch. I don't know if I've mentioned this recently, or I was talking to you about it. Did I talk to you about this?
No.
Jesus, he said bitch after everything.
Oh, yeah.
I walked around here talking like Freddy Krueger, saying bitch after everything. My wife woke up. I was like, good morning, bitch. The kids are like, can I have cereal? I was like, get him yourself, bitch. My mom called, hello,
welcome to
bitch.
prime time, bitch.
Yep, it was, I had to laugh.
It became a self-parody in the later movies.
Yeah, totally. I want a super cut of all the Freddy Krueger bitches.
I bet there's got to be one on YouTube.
I just picture Freddy doing normal day things, going to the baker. 2 dozen, bitch. Thanks, bitch.
Dropping off a bank deposit. Here's my money, bitch.
Have a good day, Mr. Krueger.
You too, bitch.
Holy shit. We went from a haunted lake to Freddy Krueger cussing everybody out inside of 7 minutes. Yeah.
I would honestly like to see like short films about terrifying killers from movies. Like I would like to see a short film showing what Jason does when there's no campers around.
During
how does Jason spend his time? Like, does he go fishing? Does he take walks by himself? Like, what's he do? Does he go kayaking?
It practices his lake lunges, flying out of the water.
Is he like Eric Cartman when Cartman gets his own theme park, but then he's got to start letting people in, and that's why he starts killing them, because like, God damn it, camp's just not camp without people, and he brings them in and then he remembers how fucking shitty people are, and he's like, you know what? Fuck these guys, and he kills them off, and then a few years later, he's like, you know what? Maybe this time will be different. No, same shit. Partying, listening to 80s hair metal, trying to bang everywhere. Fuck you, kids.
Yeah, what if Jason was just like a super duper hardcore Mormon? And he was like, you're supposed to learn here, not smoke the reefer and hump.
Yeah. Enjoy nature's bounty. Don't squander it.
Yeah. Learn about the Lord and nature and how to tie a hitch knot, not fornication and drug use. Yeah. God damn it. Now I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. See, Jason, well, he is a murderous asshole. He's just misunderstood. That's all. It's not that he wants to kill you. He would like for you to not be douchey kids and ruin his camp. That's what he would like. But
now
they just can't get their shit together.
Now you piss him off so much, he just sees murder as a favor, expediting your soul to heaven. So
it's the only option. You know, you got to stop your life of sin. So he stops it for you, and then lets God deal with it from there.
Stops the sinning for you.
He does. He's like, you know what? I'll help you, brother and or sister. And then he cuts him in half or smashes him into a tree or does any of the other number of things he's done over the years. Throws him out a window.
Right. They never show what he does after that. You know, what if he just pokes them with a spear in their chest and they scream and the camera cuts, but if it stays there, he just reaches into like a breast pocket and pulls out a tiny Mormon Bible and kneels down, does a nice little
cries,
service.
Says his prayers. He's like, I didn't want to do this. Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
Well, like Jason, the subject of our story that we're going to talk about tonight may be misunderstood as well, but maybe not after you hear it. What are we talking about tonight, Mike?
The Curse of Lake Ronkonkoma.
Okay, so you got to do that again and do it loud with the echo button.
Okay. All right. The Curse of Ronkonkoma. It's also a lake.
It's also a lake.
Lake Ronkonkoma. It's on Long Island.
I have never heard of this place or any curses associated.
Really?
I'm excited to hear about this.
Well, as the name might suggest, it's
there's a lot of Ronkons
place
that go.
there's so many Ronkons, and they're all in comas. It's a weird place. If your name is Ronkon, don't go there.
Ever.
You'll end up in a coma. No. But it's a place that's steeped in Native American lore, but the story of the curse came about after the white man settled. But just a little background about the lake itself. It's basically in the geographic center of Long Island. It was traditionally so in Long Island before Europeans came over. There were 13 tribes that lived on Long Island. One of the most powerful tribes was the Settlecots. They're better known these days as the Setauket tribe. And there's even a place, I believe, in the northern part of Long Island called Setauket. But it's named after this tribe. But the shores of Lake Ronkonkoma were often used as a sacred place for the tribes. They would go and they would perform rituals of thanks to the Great Spirit. And the lake was considered sacred. They wouldn't even fish out of the lake. And it was thought that this was a sacred place, and they had enough food in the surrounding area. There was enough ways for them to get food that they didn't need to fish in this lake.
Wow.
In addition to being considered a sacred place, the local tribes, they held the belief that the lake itself might be bottomless. And there were stories that members of certain tribes would go missing in the lake. They would just disappear into the lake, but then their body would show up miles away, drifting on waterways that emptied into the Great South Bay.
Ooh, that's terrifying, dude. Those underwater canal shits scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. There was one story from the 1700s where witnesses watched as a European man dropped a weight on a string over the side of his boat into the deepest part of the lake. And it said that he let the whole length of his rope go, which was over 1,000 feet. And apparently he still didn't encounter bottom. Now, this story particularly is likely a fabrication, but if there are underwater channels, then the weight could have been pulled into the channel, giving the illusion that it was bottomless because it's being pulled through a underground water channel.
There'd be heavier currents too, so possibly something even pulling it to a deeper area.
But there's apparently this lake is a natural well, and the depth of the lake changes because it'll fill itself from natural water through the underground water table, and so it fluctuates the depth of the lake itself.
Whoa.
But because of this, I think that for a number of reasons it would be considered sacred. For one, it's in the center of the island for the most part. For two, it's got it's got the reputation for being bottomless, and the depth can fluctuate. And it was the ritual place for a lot of the local tribes, so it was deemed sacred. But there's also, in addition to the reports from early natives saying that bodies would disappear into the lake and show up in waterways, there's also been stories of a whirlpool that'll open up in the middle of the lake and pull boats down.
Oh shit, whole boats?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, it's a lake, so it's not like you're getting like ocean liners or anything. This is like
canoes and small
canoes and whatnot. Yeah. But according to modern science and studies that have been done on the lake. They're aware that it's a local or a natural well, but they're saying that there's nothing in the lake that would create any sort of downward pull or a whirlpool. But they also say that it's not possible that there would be underwater waterways that would lead to streams miles away. And there's no way if a body were to go in there that it would be washed out. But that's still something that has happened. And there have also been cases where a body will go missing in the lake, and the lake will be searched extensively, and then the body will just show up like a week or two later, just pop up, and there's the body.
Oh God.
Yeah. There was there was this one story from someone who was a lifeguard there. It's not that we're going to be talking about another one who a lot of modern information about the lake comes from later, but this guy in particular, I don't think he was named, but he was a lifeguard who dove in because somebody was drowning, and he went in to save somebody. And it turned out that there wasn't anybody drowning, but he did pull up a dead body of someone who had been dead for a while.
Oh, jeez. That's awful, man.
Yeah.
God, sacred lake or creepy lake? Don't go in there because a corpse might plop out of the water and bump into you.
Yeah.
Or because it's special.
Yeah. Who knows? So, with all this being said, this kind of sets the stage for the actual legend of the lake. Now, not having heard of the lake, I think it's safe to say you're not familiar with the legend either.
No, sir.
Okay.
But I like the way it's going. I mean, this is the perfect setup even for like a sea monster here.
Oh, I wish. Oh my God, a sea monster would be amazing. All right, so this legend, it centers around a Setauket princess, and her name was Ronkonkoma, but in some tellings, her name was also Tuscawanta, but the lake was named after her. So for simplicity's sake, I will refer to her henceforth as Ronkonkoma, or Princess Ronkonkoma, because that is in fact her title, and she should be given the honor that title is due.
I would if I was a princess. Better call me princess.
Yeah, you better fucking call him princess. It's bullshit. So, because Ronkonkoma was princess of the Setauket tribe, her father being the chief, wanted to, as a lot of cultures did back then, he wanted his daughter to be married to someone that he thought was worthy, but also someone who would build a powerful alliance or a powerful family with his. So he had a young native in mind that he wanted Ronkonkoma to marry. Now, she was an adventurous one, and she would often go run around in the woods and go explore trails and pathways. And one day she was going through the woods and she came upon this white settler. When she saw him, he didn't look like anybody that she was familiar with, being a white man with blonde hair and a beard, and he just looked different, but she saw him and became interested in him. So since she was aware of his existence, she started to kind of start spying on him. So she knows where he lives. Her first time spotting him, he was chopping wood. And so she starts making these trips to spy on him every night. And one night it happens that this man, whose name was Hugh Birdsall, he couldn't sleep. So he leaves his cabin and he starts pacing in his front yard, and she's spying on him as usual. And it just so happens that from one of the angles that he was pacing as he was walking, the moonlight caught the glass beads that Ronkonkoma was wearing around her neck. So he started walking towards her. She got freaked out and ran, but he ended up catching up with her. And from there, they started to develop a relationship. And she was clearly into him, and he ended up developing feelings for her. And they kind of had this secret relationship for a while. But she knew that her father would not allow it. So one day she just decided she was going to confess to her father about this love affair that she had been having. And of course he was pissed off because he already had a mate in mind for her. He had someone picked out. They were going to be married. Things were going to be lovely. She was going to have kids. They were going to be powerful. And the person he had in mind was selected for her by the guide, or through the guidance of the Great Spirit. And this was supposed to be a sacred bond that she was going to have with this person. But she's throwing it all away for this stupid Beardo McBeardingson. What's he got? Pale skin? Psh, fuck that guy. But she's like, no, daddy, I love him. And he's like I said, fuck that guy. And he told her she could not see him ever again. And he forced her to marry the man that he had selected for her. So 7 years go by. And in the 7 years, Princess Ronkonkoma and Hugh Birdsall are continuing their love affair, only this time because she's forbidden from seeing him. What she would do is she would take a canoe to the middle of the lake, write a message on a piece of bark, and send it to him across the lake on the other side. And every day he would wait for the message to arrive. And they went on like this for 7 years. And for some reason, in the last month of the 7th year, the princess could no longer take it. And she died. She killed herself. Now, there's a few different stories as to what exactly happened. With, like any good legend, there's different reasons why, and it's really related to the telling of the story, who's telling it, who heard it. But one of the endings of the story says that Ronkonkoma was sending a message to Hugh Birdsall, telling him that she'd finally come to visit him the next morning in person. So he went out and he waited by the water, and her canoe comes in, and as she rolls up onto the shore, he looks inside and he finds her dead in the canoe with a knife through her heart.
Oh.
There's another story that says that she tried to swim across the lake at the end of the 7-year period, that she just got so sick of it she couldn't take it anymore and jumped into the lake and tried to swim to the other side. Now, just for some context, the lake itself is about 1 kilometer, a little bit over 1 kilometer. So it's a good distance, but it's not a distance that's out of that I would say out of reach for an ordinary person if you paced yourself. But if you're all excited and you're like, I'm gonna go, and you just dive in and take off, you could tire yourself out, and then you drown. But that's how this story goes, that she tried to swim to him and she got tired at some point in her journey and drowned and never showed up. But there's a third version that says that she went out to the lake like she had been doing for the past 7 years to send the message, and she couldn't take it anymore. She wanted to see Hugh Birdsall. She's like, Hugh, you must come see me. She sends the message begging him to come see her, and he never showed up. So hurt by this, by him completely ignoring her message and leaving her there, she jumped into the deepest part of the lake and drowned.
Oh, that can get even more dramatic, and her friends didn't give him the message because they knew it would cause strife between her and her father.
Or maybe that piece of bark just happened to wash up on a different shore and he never got the message. You know, who
that's
knows?
even better. That's even better.
Yeah. But from that point on, this story says that Ronkonkoma is still searching for her lost love. And once a year, she'll choose a man who's between the ages of 18 and 40, and she will bring him down into the depths of the lake with her, and he will reside with her for eternity.
Whether he likes it or not.
But the sad thing is that as the legend says, that usually she'll pull someone in thinking that it's her lover. And then when she realizes it isn't, she needs to try again. And that's why she continues to try every year, hoping that one time she will find the one that is really Hugh Birdsall. But, it's been hundreds of years, so maybe it's time to get over it, huh?
She's still looking for her wheat-colored bearded man.
Yeah, the strapping lad that he is. But now it would be very easy to say that this is a local legend, that this is just, a story told by people in the area, passing this urban legend down through generations. It would be very easy to say that if it wasn't for the fact that almost every year for at least 30 odd years, there's been a drowning of a male in that lake. And before that, before records were kept, it was just, they didn't have official records of how many people drowned, but it was well known that this was a place where people drown. And I think over the last, let me see, 1 second. I think I've got
a number here too, so I want to compare numbers that we found.
Okay, so between the 1800s and the 1970s, there were at least 160 drownings in the lake. Out of that group of people, out of that 160 people, only 3 victims were women. So I would assume that the women were probably just people that drowned by happenstance. But the men, all of the men were drowned by the evil ghost princess, who's probably not evil. She's probably just sad and lonely. Come swim with me.
So from the numbers I got from the person that we'll get into in a second, he stated that from 1877 to 1977, there had been at least 147 drownings in the lake. And legend has it that they were all male.
Yeah, for the most part they were, except for 3 women victims. But like I said, it's probably just happenstance.
Well, like I said in the beginning, I hadn't heard of this, and I only had a few moments before we started recording to take a look at it, and I got lucky. I came across an interview with a dude named Dr. David S. Egnery, and he was the head lifeguard at this lake for 32 years. He said he performed over 130 rescues on the lake, and he's the one who stated that from 1877 to 1977, there had been 147 deaths. And he talked about how the way the lake is under the water could be contributed to why so many people die there. Because if that's 100 years, right? And those numbers are from 100 years. That's like 1.5 people drowning every year, which is an insane amount, right?
I would say so. I mean, that's, and especially like considering the fact that the majority of these people are male, and that it follows the legend that she will take 1 male per year.
Yeah, well, she's held true to that. But he says that on the beaches where people gather and festivities are held, the water is about 10 feet deep for a good distance out. Pretty much as far out as most people are going to go swimming without a boat or some type of jet ski or something like that. But he says the problem starts is that there's these huge drop-offs after this 10-foot depth. He says there's some ledges that drop down to 45 feet and some that even drop down to 75 feet. He says that if you can't get to somebody before they go underwater and they're past that 10-foot depth area, that they're gone for good. And he says that that's because if you go deeper than 10 feet in any part of this lake, it's just pitch black. He says that he's been to plenty of other lakes, but once you get past 10 feet, at this lake, there's 100% zero visibility. So if you see somebody struggling and they're out past where this drop is, or they're past a shelf, and they go down, they say that's it. They don't find them again.
That shit is so scary.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I saw one interview with him. He was talking about how if people were on the beach within the waters, they had a 100% saving rate of people. And he said that wasn't his worry. His worry was when people would go past the line for the public beach where there were no guards. And he said every year without fail, there would be one man between the age of 18 and 40 who would end up going past the point of the beach and would drown as a result. And, it could be just because of the murkiness of the water and the guy's, trying to be crafty macho man. Or maybe what if think of it this way. You're a dude on the beach and say some really good looking native girl comes up to you and it's like, hey, I know this spot. Why don't you come with me? It's a nice secluded spot and we can go and be alone. And then, so he follows her off the beach into the water, and then she pulls him down and drowns him because she's really a ghost princess. And she just tricked him because guys are dumb.
That's what it seems like. I mean, she said to claim one a year, and that's definitely seems to be what's going on at this lake.
Mm.
He mentioned something in this interview about his dream. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, the 4th of July dream.
Yeah, he said that he was having this dream, and he was diving looking for somebody in the lake. And he comes across one of these big drop-offs that we talked about. And he goes down, but he becomes disorientated and panics, and he begins to struggle. But he calms himself, and he tells himself to follow the direction of his bubbles. Then that will point him to the surface. So he made his way up, and as soon as he broke through the water, he was startled by giant fireworks. And he had that dream for 7 days in a row, and he took it as a warning for the upcoming 4th of July festivities that are held on the lake every year. And he even told his lifeguard team about this, and he said that he wasn't going to let anything bad happen on this day. And they all vowed to break the curse. They all knew about this curse, and they pretty much got ready for at least one person to die every year. And as luck would have it, on 4th of July that year, an 18-year-old had a seizure in the water. The alarms were sound. They went after him, and he said that they dove for him about 3 or 4 times with the team. And since he was past this 10-foot drop-off part, he was gone. They couldn't find him at all. And him being pissed off, said, fuck this, I'm going to go down and dive one more time. And he dove down into the water, and he couldn't find this kid. And he said it pissed him off. And it got a little dark, got scared, got panicky, had to calm himself, and swam to the surface. And as soon as he broke the surface of the water, he said they were setting off the fireworks for the 4th of July. So he considers that some type of premonition. Maybe, I don't know why the princess would want to warn people. I'm sure she wants her one dude a year, but it was pretty interesting to hear that Mothman.
Maybe she wanted that dude. Maybe she's like, hey.
Ooh, yeah, you should see him, dude. He's a ripped old dude. He's got some nice 1950s muscle man boobies that happens to those guys when they're 50. Yeah. He's
when
awesome.
They get old.
I'm not talking shit.
I think he's in his 70s now.
Yeah, I'll take those boobies over the boobies that I do have any day of the week.
I'll take old bodybuilder boobs over moobs any day.
Yeah, podcaster teats. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's hard work, man. Being a podcaster.
Yeah, but this guy, you can tell he kicks ass. He kicks ass at his job at being a lifeguard. He's a doctor too. He's still in great shape for an old guy. I'm not talking shit at all. They said that in this interview, they asked him, had anybody commented on seeing the princess or maybe being coerced to the water or beckoned or heard anything like that? And he said, no, never. Not one of them did. He was part of over 130 rescues on the lake. And he says it was just as simple as if you were a girl and you went into the lake, you were fine. If you were a boy and you went into the lake and you went past this certain point, maybe that's the rope you're talking about. But it's where, I mean, I'm sure if they have drop-offs, that could be 75 feet. I'm sure they got a rope and some buoys to stop people from going there. But he said if you're a boy and you went past it, you died. Period. That's just it. That's just how it went at this lake. He said 30 people died there. You know, he was there for 32 years, but as active watching the water, every year somebody died. 30 years, 31 people died while he was watching the water, and they were all males. Every single one of them.
And it happened every year until the year 2000. And then there were no drownings for 11 years.
Really?
Until 2012, yeah. So from 2000 to 2012, there were no drownings. Well, from 2000 to 2011. And then in 2012, there was finally a drowning.
Was it a dude?
Yep. So in 2012, there was a guy named Sammy Weiner who died. He was a father of 2 children, and he went into the water to retrieve a remote-controlled boat for a stranger. And just some guy, I guess, lost his boat, and so this guy decided to jump in the water to get the boat. This was 8:30 at night on June 22nd, 2012.
Ugh.
And according to this guy whose boat he was retrieving, he swam out about 150 feet and then just disappeared underwater and never resurfaced.
Oh, man.
And his body wasn't found until the following evening.
The next evening?
Yeah. Where they found him was very close to the spot he disappeared. But they searched all that day and they didn't find him until the next evening. And it was in the place that he disappeared. He just all of a sudden popped back up.
Holy shit. She reminded everybody.
Yeah. But then she took the next year off. She took off 2013. Then August 23rd, 2014, there was a 40-year-old man named Kevin Conley who was a kayaker, and he had gone missing. What had happened was he apparently fell out of his canoe in the area of the lake that was even more murky than the other locations. And they were searching for him using sonar, and they weren't able to find him for a week.
Whoa, so with sonar,
yeah,
they couldn't find him, and he eventually appeared?
Yep, a week later.
Oh, that's weird. And I don't know much about sonar. He could have been snagged on something on the bottom, I guess, unfortunately. Don't mean to sound insensitive, but that's bizarre. I mean, this is... I'm starting to believe this chick is the Native American Jason Voorhees. She rules that lake, and she will fuck shit up and get her one man a year.
Yeah, that's what she wants. She wants her man. And, I mean, I guess wait for someone to drown if you want to go there. Like pay attention to the news and be like, all right, she got her man this year. I can now go swimming without fear.
I wonder. I saw the interview I saw with this dude, with Dr. David. I don't know if it was from a TV show or something, or if it was something some people put together independently, but they talked to a couple locals, and they talked to a couple fit-looking young men, and they asked them if they heard about this legend, and they're like, yeah, it's just a legend here. Everybody knows about it. And they said, do you go swimming there? And they said, no way. And they didn't laugh, but they weren't scared about it, but they're just like, no, somebody dies every fucking year, curse or not. It fucking happens. Every year somebody dies there. I found it interesting. Even if you don't believe it or not, you kind of have to heed the warning of 160 deaths in 100 years.
Yeah. Or maybe just stay where there's a lifeguard, and don't act like an asshole.
It seems like that doesn't matter. Dr. Dave's on there kicking ass. I mean, being super ripped, and a doctor, he couldn't, he lost.
Well, no, because he said so long as you stayed in the waters by the beach that were protected by the lifeguards, you were safe.
Right.
When he went past.
Another thing that he mentioned, Dr. Lifeguard Dave, was that they asked him about the whirlpool that you were talking about. And he said that he swam across that lake hundreds of times and never saw a whirlpool. And no one ever reported a whirlpool to him.
Just so I'm just throwing this out there, but even though, like we said, most of them are males, one of the most recent people to drown there was a female, and that was in 2017.
Ooh,
yeah. So maybe she got sick of men, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna try something different.
And it got her.
Enough of this. Yeah. And I don't know if there's been any deaths since 2017, but if not, maybe she's like, you know what? I was batting for the wrong team this whole time. I got my lady love, and we're going to be happy in the bottom of the Lake Ronkonkoma for eternity.
That'd be awesome. When people stop dying, she's at peace. I wonder if there's any like offerings there or a spot. Like you see stuff like, again, don't mean to be a downer, like spots on the side of a freeway where there's been an accident. People will put flowers there.
With like a cross and flowers.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if people or like, local natives that are around from the area have a little offering spot there. But I don't know if they do. It didn't fucking work, right?
I don't know. Maybe they're safe. Because she doesn't like the native boys.
Maybe.
She wants those Eurotrash boys.
Here, I sent you a picture of good old Dr. Dave's muscle flaps. Little pancake chest waffles.
Pancake chest waffles. Oh, perfect. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That guy definitely went to the Atlas School of Bodybuilding.
Definitely, right? I mean, my grandpa was a bodybuilder, and that's exactly how he looks like. Even when he died, he was like that.
Yeah, that old timey burly.
Yep. God bless you, Dr. Dave. Show me how to get them traps, homie.
Teach me your secrets, Dr. Dave. Teach me.
You gotta swim in this deadly fucking lake, asshole.
That's a secret. Brave the ghosts and death every year.
For 32 years. 31, you're going to have some droopy tits. 32, they'll start to pucker up. Hit 75, they're going to droop but go the wide way. So it kind of looks like a muscle still. I'll be like, I'm in.
Like, see? I'm still the man, motherfucker. Yes, you are, Dr. Dave. Yes, you are.
Beautiful, life-saving son of a gun, you.
Yeah.
All hail Dr. Dave's titties.
Dr. Dave's titties.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.